Hi, everybody. Say hello if you're hopping on. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Cosmic TV. For those of you who have never been here before, welcome to Cosmic TV. For those of you who have been here before, welcome back. This show is called Therapeutic Wisdom from the Akash. It's every Friday at 2:15 p.m. Eastern and 11:15 a.m. Pacific. My name is Laura Mazzotta, and I am an Akashic healer and teacher. I've also been a therapist for almost 20 years in New York, and I'm really here to assist people with as many people who will listen about the Akashic records. Hi, Kelly. How are you, honey? Happy Friday. This time I'm actually saying happy Friday, and it's Friday. Last week I went live and said happy Friday about 6 times, and it was Thursday. So see, look how much progress I'm making as a human soul. So I'm Akashic healer and teacher. I want people to understand the Akashic records, to really understand their power. That's really the key behind it, right? In terms of healing, in terms of healing from emotional wounds, in terms of healing from physical health issues. Hi, Kirath. So good to see you. So I am here to chat about all of these lovely things that come up in our field, right? And because we interpret them a certain way as human beings, and it's really important to understand that a lot of our interpretations are due to our own conditioning or things that we think we should be thinking. And a lot of times we're thinking things or believing things that we don't even realize are not ours, right? That aren't ours to carry. And so it's really important to talk about the bigger issues as well as the things that are showing up in our everyday lives. So we've talked a lot about PTSD, OCD, anxiety, stress, depression, lack of energy, all of those things we've talked about. And so today we're going to be talking about the medical system at large. We're going to be kind of taking the lens out a little bit, not looking so microscopically at what's going on with us, but the medical system in general, right? I wrote a blog on this that I haven't posted yet because I was writing up a book chapter that I just submitted yesterday. Yay! To the book Sacred Medicine, and I'm so excited about it. So I was catching up on that, but I'm going to finish up my blog now that that's complete, because this is really about why the medical system isn't working for people with chronic illness, right? And I'm not saying it's not working. I'm saying that most of the time it's not working with people with chronic illness. I really see the medical system and the mental health system as working well for acute care, particularly the medical system over the mental health system, even when we're talking about acute care. So what does that mean? That means if you have that sharp pain that's coming up, or you're like, vomiting blood, or you are having trouble breathing and you can't catch a breath, right? Those are the kinds of things that are very productive to seek medical attention, obviously, and to get feedback from the medical community, because they've saved me many times and many people that I know and love. So there's a real place for it, for sure. But I think the main issue that I'm going to bring forward today is, I personally think the main problem that we have with our medical system is the fact that we expect it to save us, is the fact that we go to it with this desperate energy of save me, save me, save me. And we tell people all the time as coaches and on this path of self-development, don't look for somebody to save you, right? Figure out how to save yourself. Figure out what it is you need, right? Because that's just you passing the buck. It's passing it on to somebody else because you don't want to take responsibility for what's coming up in your field, right? Oh yeah, Kirath, that's true. My Friday starts when yours ends. I appreciate you being here, and happy weekend to you. So that's really what I see. And my friends have been in this position so many times. And I noticed that when I go in to the doctor because I have some kind of emergency issue or some kind of acute, really intense issue going on, I am more desperate. I'm like, oh my gosh, just like anything you can do. Like, I need relief, right? Or I need something to happen right now, or else things are going to get worse, right? And so in those situations, yes, it can be helpful. The problem is we then take that wisdom and we carry it with us through the rest of our days. But that acute issue has passed now, right? Now that's passed. We've handled that acute issue. It doesn't mean that that wisdom they gave us, although helpful in the moment, is going to be fueling us for the rest of our days. Okay, so we also misconstrue this guidance that we get from the medical system and think, oh, that must be gospel, and it's something that is like the hard and fast rule going forward. No, it's for that specific acute moment, and that's it. At which point we then move into a mindset and a perspective of prevention. If you're really scared as hell about something else happening to you, that means that you're not doing enough to prevent whatever it is you're worried about happening to you. Get creative. Now, I understand one of the biggest things that gets in the way here are finances and having access to resources. The beauty of it is that we have access to doctors now online. We don't have to necessarily see them locally. This is exactly why I started this whole shebang with wanting to start a charity for people with chronic illness, because I feel so grateful that I've had the resources to have access to the energetic healing, the naturopathic healing, all of these other things that I've added and married nicely with what's been offered to me from the medical system. I rely on the medical system very little at this point, very little. The only time I really connect with the medical system is when, like right now, I need surgery. So I'm going to be connecting with them on that. There's frustration in me right now. I am carrying frustration right now because this is an issue that existed started a lot earlier, but I started getting symptoms at the beginning of April that were overlooked when I was at the hospital. So would I need to be getting surgery right now if they had accurately diagnosed this at the beginning of April? No, probably not. But there's been other things that have unfolded along the way. Like I felt so crappy that I joined another program that is brilliant and magical and is going to change me across the board in so many different ways. It's basically taking all of my preventive and self-care that I've been doing already and taking it up about 10,000 notches. It's amazing. I wouldn't have signed up for that program otherwise. And it's a fantastic prevention program. So there's a reason for everything, right? So I can sit here and still feel really angry and incensed at the medical field. But what's that going to get me? That's going to get me increased toxicity because I'm carrying all that anger inside of me. What it does help me realize is, where are there areas where I allowed my boundaries to be crossed, where I allowed my doctors to make decisions for me instead of taking my power back and saying, this is what my body's saying, and it's valid and it's solid. Where did I not speak up more? Because I am in control of my own health, and it's incredibly empowering. And I'll tell you guys, it was very daunting to me to think about taking control of my own health, because I've had quite the complicated array of medical issues that have arisen in the past 5 years. Right? But you know what I've learned? It's immensely loving to myself to learn more about my body. It is immensely loving and healing for myself to get as intimately connected as I can with the way that my system operates. You're developing a relationship with your physical body. You're cultivating it, you're nourishing it, you're honoring it more deeply. Make that one of your top priorities. We talk here a lot about our relationship with our higher self and our soul, right? But our souls chose this vessel. It chose this vessel to walk through this life with. And it deserves honoring. It deserves our love and our appreciation. Let me just check the comments really quickly. Kelly says, and the power you gain from being your own savior is incredible. It is so incredible. You know what it is? It's very calming and very soothing. Because for me then, whenever anything comes up or shit hits the fan, I immediately know that I have resources. I get to source from within. I get to source from within. And guess what? When I can't, I love being collaborative, but I'm not looking at other people to save me. I'm looking at them to brainstorm with me, to offer alternative perspectives so that I can add that to the table of my other options and make my decision. I'm inviting them into experiencing whatever it is I'm experiencing together, but I am not codependent on their words and taking them as gospel. Robotic behavior for doctors saves when they are textbook stereo system. Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, Keyrath. It does, because they do. they have certain protocols, right? They have a certain box that each diagnosis fits into. Every single human body is different. And I understand that our systems are fairly similar, right? There's basic organs and systems of the body that we all have. Except me, I'm going to lose one soon. Oh, my husband's mocking me. He's like, oh, you know what? You're down in Oregon. I don't even. So anyway, he loves messing with me, but it's true. They do. They have this standard, protocol that they follow. And although that does apply, when there are that handful of people, those handful of people that are outside of the box, that don't fit within that protocol, then it becomes what I see, then it becomes a bit of an ego challenge for a lot of doctors. Because it's like, wait, I am amazing at what I do. How do I not know this? And I think sometimes it's just lack of education. And I think sometimes it's lack of education. And sometimes it's an ego issue. Because I've had several doctors that I haven't been able to continue working with because it was too much like, oh, well, why do you want to look into it at that level of depth? That's not the protocol. Well, I understand, my friend, but I want to gather more information so I can empower myself. So there is some level of control there within the system for sure. And it's mostly related to CYA, like them covering their asses, right? It's all cover your ass because they don't want lawsuits and and I get it. I totally get it. I don't fault them for being in the position they're in. It doesn't align beautifully with having a complex medical picture. Right? And so I have found more relief than anything within the spiritual and the energetic healing modalities. But that doesn't mean that that's all I do, right? That's not all I do because, again, we're all here together. We're all here to be sharing our unique wisdom with each other. And so people who go to medical school have a hell of a lot of wisdom, more wisdom in terms of the inner workings of the physical body than I know, right? So I use that as, hey, let me get curious. What kind of information can you teach me about this part of my body? Allow them to educate you, but don't take it as, okay, and then this is what I need to do about it. That's your decision, right? Does that make sense? Sam, hi, honey. You're welcome. You're feeling a little nervous. Sending you lots of love, honey. Lots of love. Yeah, so okay, let me see what else I wanted to share about this. So that's the biggest issue, is really that we're looking to them for saving, right? When we take radical responsibility for our own health, our wellness is going to be maintained better, right? We need to learn, okay, so all right, I handled this acute issue. Now I'm home. Now I'm doing X, Y, and Z. How can I get curious about preventing this going forward? What were the pieces or the dominoes that added up to this experience occurring in the first place? Because it doesn't necessarily mean what you're eating. It could be what you're eating, but maybe not. It could be negative thoughts. It could be that your mother had the same issue at the same age, and so it subconsciously presented itself, right? So it doesn't have to necessarily just be, okay, this is what I was eating, this is what I was doing, these are the supplements I was taking, these are the medications I was on. And it could be, but it could also be, especially if you have chronic health issues, guaranteed, promise you, it's rooted in trauma. It's rooted in trauma that might not be yours, but could be within your ancestral line. It could be rooted in issues in a past life that were not fully resolved, right? So this is where the many layers come in to determine what got you to that point. Because this is the problem. When we go in and seek medical attention, we're already at the point of exhaustion and stress about whatever's going on with us. And so we're just going to be like, okay, yeah, get whatever you can give me, right? I'm desperate. So the point is, consult with yourself, consult with spirit, consult with Mother Earth before you get too exhausted and stressed. What are the steps that I can take that are in my highest good to assist me with moving through this with greater ease? And what we focus on expands, right? So if you're focusing on, I can't take it anymore, somebody has to help me, which I've been there recently with the pain I've had, but I redirect that, right? I redirect that because I know that that's my ego mind. I have to. Do I really have to? Or am I just feeling uncomfortable? And how can I make myself more comfortable? How can I get creative with making myself more comfortable, thinking outside of the box in ways that maybe I haven't before, right? Yes, our government pushes our docs to check off boxes in health records versus being able to treat patients. Oh my gosh, Kelly, I completely agree with you. It's so funny that you say that too, because I was literally just thinking, oh, Danielle, we missed you yesterday, honey. So good to see you. So what did you decide? See, I lost what I was saying. Yeah, so that's what's so funny. It's like, you know, the new primary that I have since my last one retired is a standard primary, you know, checking all the boxes off. And when I bring up what's going on with me, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's for that specialist. Okay, that's for that person. Right. And I get it because she has her own life and her own kids and her own, like, you know, she wants to keep her own boundaries where they are, which is awesome for her. It makes her live a more fulfilling life. Right. But that doesn't mean it's a good fit for me, you know? And so, so for me, it's, I have this other doctor that I'm working with in this autoimmune program, and she really cares. I mean, you can feel the difference so palpably. You know, we get off a call and she's like, hey, I want to talk to you a little bit further and just see what's going on with you and support you. And I mean, it's just, and support you across the board, even if you're just emotional about what's going on with you, you know, like I want to support you. And it just feels so human, like so natural, you know, and it sucks because I feel like the standards, and I felt this in the mental health system, the standards of the greater system, let's say, the umbrella system, prevent us as treatment providers from taking the time to really get to know our clients, or taking the time to really spend that extra half an hour to research something, or to think outside of the box, or to call people and put it all together. And there just isn't space in the system right now for that. Which is why I've been, I'm going to be signing up with a concierge physician, just somebody who's, you know, kind of outside of this traditional medical systems and just offering more of that relationship, you know, because we just talked about that. We talked about having a relationship with our body. That's one of the best preventive tools we can have, to listen to, what does my daughter see? Look, oh my gosh. Oh, Freudian slip there. Possibly my inner child needs a little bit of love right now. I'm sure she does, because anytime that we have medical issues, our inner child it carries our wounds, right? So she's carrying whatever is currently needing to be released. And I know I'm here to release a lot of ancestral wounds. That's part of my purpose. So, but yeah, so, oh, that was the other thing I was going to say, is that, you know, I was taught, and I grew up really learning how to revere doctors, like really putting them on a pedestal, you know, putting doctors on a pedestal. And, you know, they're really just human beings, just like celebrities, you know, people are like, oh my gosh, there's J-Lo, you know, and it's like, they're just humans, you know, we all have an immense amount of wisdom within us. It's all meant to be shared. It's all meant to be heard. It's all meant to be cherished. Right. And so we're just looking at ourselves as like collectors, like we're collecting this information. And then we take that information, we incorporate it with our own alignment, with tuning into our own bodies, tuning into spirit, tuning into our own stillness, and being able to make a more educated decision. Okay. So the other thing is, like I said, don't wait too long. Don't wait until you get to your breaking point, because you're going to be in a more vulnerable space to be able to just kind of like do robotically whatever they tell you to do. Right? Because ultimately when we go into the doctor, we're looking for a fix. We're looking for a Band-Aid approach, you know? And what I can tell you is, if you're already in the doctor's office, there have been signals that you have been missing. And that doesn't mean bad you and you're getting blamed. It means getting curious about, oh, this is another opportunity for expansion. This is another opportunity to know myself more intimately, right? So Danielle says, since finding spirit, I've all but abandoned Western. Yeah, see? Yeah. So, and let me tell you, that's so normal, Danielle. Like, the pendulum swings, right? So for me, it was like total reliance on the medical system. I'd do anything they'd say. They were God to me, right? Like they were just like so revered because that's how I was raised. And then the pendulum swung all the way over to screw the medical system. They suck and they piss me off and they're not helping me and they're actually making things worse. And then you find that, well, just like the pendulum, you find that happy medium, right? Whereas for me, I'm like, I am super grateful for the medical system, immensely grateful. They've saved my life, right? They've saved my life. But that's good for acute things, right? But guess what? You won't have as many acute things if you're practicing consistent preventive care. And then you're not going to get to that point where you need to go in. Kelly, and when they don't check these boxes or patients don't do what they expect, the docs are held responsible, which creates angst between the patient and, yeah, see? Exactly. That sucks. And that's part of the problem too, right? I'm sure that, one of the reasons the system's gotten to the point it is because there are a lot of people who aren't listening to suggestions. They're not implementing things, and then they're not getting the results or the outcomes, and then the physicians are getting their ass handed to them, right? So that exists too. There's so many different components to this. It's really about collaborating together and realizing that we all have really valuable wisdom to share. Yeah, collaborative. Oh my gosh. Yep, exactly. Thank you, Kelly. We have to be our own advocate. Yes. And if you can't, ask somebody to be your advocate, because it's important to have that other objective voice on the table. Yeah. Okay. So PTSD, they don't really know a lot about it. I know, Kelly, my old primary was phenomenal. Oh my gosh, she was phenomenal. And everybody that I mentioned her name, they all know her around here. They're all like, oh my gosh, she was next level. Like rare find. She was a gem. So, and she was very holistic, which was beautiful. And that made me so happy. So I'm actually doing that now. I'm pursuing one now, but she's a physician concierge. So PTSD, Sam, and I would go on my YouTube channel, Sam, because I did a Cosmic TV on PTSD. And so you can learn more about that as well. But PTSD is huge. And I'm telling you, it is the underlying cause of all chronic health conditions. I really, truly believe that. And I want you to know, too, that it doesn't necessarily mean that you're in full-blown PTSD right now, but trauma in particular, right, is the underpinning of that. And this trauma might not be yours in this lifetime. That's what I think people get confused about. It could also be passed down from your ancestors. It could also be from past lives, right? So there are different ways to look at it, but I promise you, if that's coming up for you, it's 100% present in your field, and being able to shift through that and work through that and establish a sense of safety within your nervous system is absolutely critical to have that foundation to be able to do any kind of healing work. Okay? So I'm proud of you for asking about it, because some people shy away or they're ashamed, right? But to be able to really bring that into the conversation and recognize it as a very valid component. Oh, thank you, Cassidy. She's sharing my YouTube link. Danielle, one thing that came into your field yesterday, a dermatologist, cardiologist, psychologist will only be focused on the organ of specialty. Trauma is not a mental illness derm. Exactly, right. So they're very specialized, like my immunologist. I love him. He's fantastic. But he's fantastic when he's talking about my IgG levels and my IgM levels and my IgA levels. He's great. He talks about all those 3 levels. Outside of that, he's like, peace. He's wonderful because he knows everything that's going on with me. He's so amazing. But this is all I can talk to him about, right? That's all I can talk to him about. He focuses on that, and that's it. And what I find is functional medicine doctors, that's your jackpot right there. Functional medicine. Because they're really looking at what we need, especially a holistic functional medicine doctor. Most of them are. But, they're looking at what our particular system needs, like uniquely our systems and what it needs to operate most effectively. Not, oh, if you're within this range, then you're fine. Yeah, but I'm still feeling sluggish and this, not. Oh, okay, well, then you do need more because your particular system needs a little bit more iron or a little bit more B12 or whatever it happens to be, right? So yeah, so they definitely focus on their area of specialty. And this is also very cool that you're bringing this up, Danielle, too, because my dream my whole life from the time I was 12 was to be a clinical psychologist. And I ended up becoming a clinical social worker instead. And it was a hard shift for me. Did I say shit or shift? It's a hard shift for me because number one, my ego was very attached to success as what degree I had, how much money I made, etc. at the time, because that's what I learned and was kind of programmed with, right? And so for me, it was, wait, I can actually get to the same point, even though I'm going to be making less money. I can get to the same point and be able to think outside of the box more, right? Like know about all the systems and the culture and how and religion and how all of that impacts us versus just looking at the brain, right? And so that's one of the main reasons I shifted. But I also did it just for quality of life purposes and flexibility with me being able to work with at all different levels and different areas and containers, right? So that's really cool too, because I do feel like it pigeonholes you a little bit. The more specific you get, you know, it's great if you can be really, really passionate about one topic. Like for me, I was an eating disorder specialist for almost 20 years, right? Eating disorder specialist for almost 20 years. And I appreciated that, but I didn't want my entire caseload to be people with eating disorders because I didn't want to lose sight of everything else that was going on in the mental health field, you know? So it was like I'd be doing these trauma certifications and these trauma programs and trauma trainings. And then I would be doing, family work and trainings on working with families and marriages and all of that lovely stuff, right? So I kind of kept it open because I knew that if I got too narrow, it was gonna also close me off and burn me out more. And typically people get burned out more when they focus very narrowly. That can happen. So Kelly said, Laura's Akashic Cert class actually helped me a lot with my PTSD, past life healing. Yeah, thank you so much, Kelly. Sorry, I was getting a messenger phone call. That's never happened before while I'm live. So thank you so much, Kelly. I love you. It really does. That's why I organized the certification the way I did, because it really takes you from the entire spectrum and gently takes you through the whole spectrum of healing, from the deepest form, which I consider past lives, although astral travel's close, but they're very interrelated, up to just, what's going on in your current life and do you have somebody to forgive and, talking about the energetic inner child. So it does. It has all of those steps and all of that healing all in one. So very comprehensive program that some people don't even bother getting certified at the end, to be honest, because they're like, I was really just doing this for me, like I had a lot of healing to do and I wanted to tackle every layer. And that's the thing, trauma in particular nestles in at every layer for sure. You got the emotional, you got the cognitive, like the thoughts that are going on, you got the energetic, and you have the physical. So trauma can be a hard one to unravel. And that's why I just think it's really helpful to, yes, ask for medical assistance with it. Yes, move your body. Yes, get some energetic healing. Yes, get to know your soul and connect with your higher self more, right? It's all of these layers. So anyway, my friends, thank you for joining me for this very, very important conversation. And I hope that you'd share it or tag somebody if you think that they could benefit from listening to this. If you have not yet signed up for Momentum, I have a free course that's starting on Monday. I had started marketing this course as a paid course and it just didn't feel right. And then as soon as I made it a free course, I'm like so excited about it. It's amazing how when things come into alignment, you're like, yes, that's what I was looking for. That's the vibe I was looking for. And you could just tweak it until you find the vibe you want. Same goes for our physical health, right? Tweak what's going on for you until you find the vibe you want for your physical body. Okay? So sign up for Momentum. I'm sure that Cassidy will throw the link here in the comments. Thank you. She did it as I was saying it. So again, it's free. It's over Zoom. I think there's only 4 spots left because there's only 100 slots for this. And so far, I think there's 96 people signed up. So if you guys are not in there, definitely jump in. The replays will be available for a very short time unless you are in one of my paid programs, like my membership program or my certification program or my mastermind. You guys will get lifelong free access to Momentum, which is awesome because it's actually a paid course that you guys are getting for free. So anyway, you're welcome, Sam. Thank you for being here. I always appreciate your energy and your beautiful emojis. Have a great weekend, everybody. I love you. And I'll see you next Friday at 2:15 Eastern for Therapeutic Wisdom for the Akash.